Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Midnight Reviews for Obi-Wan Episode 5, the penultimate episode of Season 1, Series 1. Who knows what it's going to be? I don't know. I'm the Clown Prince of Podcast, Clown Prince of Pele, Clown Prince of the Force, Travis Snell. I'm joined by...
the not-so-grand Inquisitor, Kirklin Patzer.
I'm the Tunnel Vision Taylor Field.
I think that is Taylor's best nickname of all time. It's clever.
It's
it works for the
fucking good,
episode.
isn't it?
It's not too spoilery. It has a double meaning. I think that's Taylor's best. And actually, Kirkland pretty well. I got nothing.
Thanks.
I was sitting here. I'm like, no, I got nothing. I'm not even going to change it. I'm just going to go. So these two gentlemen holding it down right now. Let's get in this. Taylor Field Week, and they find everything we do. We just did a spicy, very fun newscast. We're talking about literally Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Jurassic World, and stuff like that.
Fast and Furious.
Fast and
Forgot
Furious. Oh,
about
yeah. Some really dangerous memes and GIFs and stuff like that. And then earlier this week, me and Dylan Taylor did Strikers review. There'll be a Lightyear review this week. There'll be another newscast. There'll be a review for Miss Marvel. Tons of things popping off. So, Taylor, where can they find us?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse Cast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yes, and everything's down below. Links, the audio, the video, where to find us, our podcast network, our podcast feeds, how to support us. The best way to support us is Patreon, because the more you support us, the more content you get. How you're getting weeks like this, 2 to 3 weeks of like a podcast every day, that's because you find young women, old men, young men, whoever you are, they, doesn't matter. We thank you very much for supporting us, and you guys make these things happen. So, and a big shout out to our Patreon producers, Eric Braden, April Darkness, Carl Ritchie, and Smalley Biggs at the very top tier. Usually, let's save you last. I was gonna throw it to Kirkland, but he's kind of off in the distance. So Taylor Field, you're gone last week. You got your glorious return. What did you think of Episode 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah, this episode was so good. Oh, it was so good. Again, like I was I was just like finishing up doing the dishes, and then I was like, oh, it's that time, and I see your message. Would you say like, oh boy, or something like that? And I was like, oh, I know we're off to a good start. So I hopped
said,
on.
oh boy, hey? I said, oh fuck.
You said, oh fuck, even better.
Travis
Yeah, so-
is in a Tobey Maguire sperm too.
Oh,
Oh boy,
boy,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm oh fuck yeah, Mary Jane.
So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, the episode's dropped, and I hopped on and watched it, and oh my god, it was good. Like it was an unexpected surprise at the beginning, and
But a welcome one.
But a welcome one, of course. And I love how they trickled in certain things throughout this episode, the parallels, and it was just it was like different perspectives and storylines that kind of like they were perpendicular to each other as they were progressing forward in this narrative, and I really, really liked it because it got to a point where it delivered, and one aspect just reflected and portrayed the current moment that we got into so well, and I love that dynamic, and it was just mixed with some great moments that were choreographed very well and acted very well, and I'm so jazzed on this episode. I cannot wait to rewatch it tomorrow if I have time, or maybe again tonight. We'll see. But it's left me on such a high note that I don't know how I'm gonna handle the finale. Every week that we've had these episodes come up, I've been so excited, and I haven't felt like this in a long time.
Like for TV or just in life?
For TV.
Okay, good. Just wanted to check up on you. Kirkland Patzer, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, overall, spoiler free, I really, really liked this episode. I thought it was a really, really strong episode. There's something with one particular character overall that I feel like I've solidified my thoughts on them. Got to episode 5, and I really feel like I have some opinions on it, so I have some fun things to share there when we get there in spoiler section. But overall, I thought it was really, really good. Like all the, like Taylor mentioned, like the first 2 seconds of this episode, I was just like, oh, here we go. Okay,
Yeah.
this is happening.
Episode 5 Disney Plus shows, man. They always come out to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, like there's some good action in here, and I think all that looked really good. And yeah, like overall, I think it was just a really, really good episode. Yeah, like I don't even want to touch upon too much because a lot of it is spoiler stuff. But I thought it was a good episode. You know, Ewan's still delivering, so that's always great. yeah, I'll just pass it along so we can hurry to the spoiler section.
Did you whisper out to Shay, "Oh boy, yeah," when you were like,
Oh,
"Oh, this
boy,
is so
yeah.
good."
Oh fuck
She's
yeah!
sleeping. She has to work in the morning, so I'm like, oh.
He's just
I'm
yelling,
whispering to
"Oh
myself.
boy yeah! Oh boy yeah!" She's like, "Why am I with this
Air
person?"
horn.
No
Air horn
respect.
going off.
Is it the big finger, Obi-Wan finger, flapping in the air?
He wakes up, I'm in the doorway like that meme.
Yeah, with a lightsaber. Hey, I want to talk about Obi-Wan. Oh boy, yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, this episode is fantastic. I have little minor qualms. I think there's a few clunky parts. I think that maybe Kirklin solidified in one thing. I think I know what he's talking about. I think even with my solidification, there's still some sort of you guys didn't really maybe nail this, like hit a home run on this that you could have, and it seems like we're kind of done with it. So I think that had a little bit of mix. So that's why I've always said that so far there's little things that we talked about last week, some inconsistencies that I think when we get to next week, I'm not going to be able to give this a full on 10. But at the fact that we are one episode away from the finale, and I've very much liked to loved all the episodes, I'm very happy. Next week we just got to stick that fucking landing, and right now I'm somewhere in like the 9 or higher, and that's all I wanted. I didn't need to be a perfect 10. It's great. I think this episode is the best combination of you're getting fan service you didn't even think you wanted, or stuff we've seen in animation, or we talk about the newscast like Knights of the Old Republic games, and we're getting them here in live action for the first time, really. And it's just such a great sight to see. And the best part about it is there's fan service moments, but they are strengthening or raising up the story. It's not just, oh, we're gonna do this really cool thing because we could do it. It's always awesome to do that. I'm never gonna complain for the most part. Sometimes it might be a bit egregious, but if you can do the cool fanboy, fangirl service, but also serve the story, that's the ultimate world. And again, the two people everyone's, cast, crew, people are delivering left, right, and center. But the two people I always just are anchoring this thing is one, Ewan. Every week, it's just like a great performance. It's up there. If we're talking about Disney Plus, I still got like Elizabeth Olsen up there, the one slot. But like, as far as everybody else in Disney Plus, you'd have to put them up against Ewan because he's like you could even make a case for him being number one, but he's just putting on one of the best performances we've seen in these just like early years of Disney Plus, and even just in Star Wars in general, So, and we've already got a great performance of him out of the prequel, which was like, tough to do even for him that he's admitted. And then the other one is Deborah Chow. Again, she's leading this cast and crew, but I just think this episode has such a good balance of action, drama, character moments, a little levity, and like I said, fan service moments, things that lead to other things. They have great bleed into one episodes, and I'm very curious what we're gonna do for this finale, because it's strange because there's so many times we've had the Disney Plus finales where it's like, oh, we feel like there's so much left. It almost feels like, oh, there's I know there's a few things left, but really there's like nothing left. Like I feel like it's gonna actually end in a point where it feels like it's good and satisfied. Like I feel like there's some things that are open, but maybe not for this show to get into, like other parts of canon, which is good. It feels like whatever's gonna happen with Ben, that's closed off, and great because we've had finale problems the whole year. So yeah, let's get into spoilers. So if you've not seen the episode, please definitely go watch this, then come back. So we'll be back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. I don't know why I did the countdown. I rarely do the countdown anymore, but I did. But it's warranted for
It's gonna help me
Obi-Wan.
later.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. 100%. So I want to start off because we got a lot of hype moments. I want to start off what I imagine what Kirkland Patzer was. And even then, this is like provide some hype moments and some big things. I imagine Kirkland Patzer, you were referring to Reva, I would imagine. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you start off, because you can go on your non-spoiler thoughts. What do you think of what they did with this character, and maybe the, I guess, sort of end point? I don't know. There's lots of stuff I have to say on her.
Yeah, I felt like in this episode, kind of what I was alluding to in the spoiler-free section is now that I understand like what her goal was from the beginning, we're in the spoilers section, so I can actually say like her whole goal was to kind of get back at Anakin because she was the one, or he was the one rather, that just slaughtered all of her friends, and I guess he just missed or something, and then she just kind of laid there like a possum and died, or did he just purposely leave her there alive? Like,
I think it's just by chance, or almost like what they refer to, like we talk about newscasts. Remember, like hate will keep you through it, and even
Yeah.
real Grand Inquisitor was kind of like, oh yeah, revenge
Yeah, he
is
dropped
very
that line.
powerful. Yeah, and I feel like that's what kept her alive. Or yeah, Anakin was just so fucking hyped up that day he didn't have the good slices.
And I think like now, and we were kind of assuming like her goal was something related to her being a youngling. I don't know. We were
Mhm.
speculating something, but now that like I know what it was, I think I'm just kind of upset that they went the route of giving her like an Inquisitor badge. I feel like I would have liked it a lot more if she was just this rogue, like not even a Jedi, but like a rogue something with like a vengeance on something. Like I personally, I just think that would be so much more interesting because for me, like knowing that like this whole time she's just been like plotting against Darth Vader, and like from her introduction, I still wasn't like sold on like just where she placed like on the Inquisitor list. And I think looking back on it now, it just seems like she just kind of climbed the ranks like so easily for what was shown like in the show, because from the beginning of it, it seemed like from everyone's dialogue that she was like the lowest rung on the ladder, and then literally in this episode she got like the Grand Inquisitor badge. And I understand that like Darth Vader was kind of just playing her like the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he did that for show, but still I think personally I just really wish it could, or I think it could have been better if she wasn't an Inquisitor and she was something else. And maybe people would have not liked the comparisons because she would have just been like maybe another Ahsoka, like in that route of just like another rogue Jedi like out in there. And like I don't know much about Ahsoka, so again, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like that's kind of what she is. But I I don't know. It just felt weird that she was an Inquisitor in that route. So I think looking back on it, I overall don't like the character. I think it was like cool to have like through that lens of a youngling and like seeing Anakin like in the Jedi Temple. Like I think that stuff was really good. Like her as a youngling was really good, but just how she got to like her revenge route, and then when she just like confronts Vader. Now I thought the fight was good, but like I don't know. I think it could have been better with her character, and I think it's kind of a con for me in the show overall. Like her character, I think it could have just been better. I don't know.
Okay, so it's funny. I'm in the same place where I think the character could have been better, but there's some things that I liked that more than you did, I guess.
I said a lot there. It's a lot.
Yeah,
to
no,
unpack.
that's where I'm going to jump up. I don't mind that because I even talked about this. I feel like episode 1 of like, could she be a Star Killer type, right? And that's what it reminded me of. Okay, Star Killer. Eventually, he figures out his plan and he's just plotting his revenge against Vader, right? So I kind of like that. I don't think we didn't get enough time with her to get that fully, but at the same point, I'm glad because it's still Obi-Wan's show, and I think Reva was still in it quite a bit enough. So I like that she was a Inquisitor. I like that she was just hanging around so she can get her chance at Vader, and I like that Vader kind of sniffed it out and was playing with her. That's why at first,
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah, I kind of agree with you, but then I thought, okay, she got that just to kind of throw her off, so she thought he was even more trusted, and at the whole time, he kind of maybe already had her figured out, and again, everyone stopped freaking out. You know, there you go, the Grand Inquisitor, he's there, he's alive, so everyone that thought they broke canon, he's there, and he's going to go walk on to Rebels, so calm down. He even said the same thing, revenge is a powerful thing, right? So, again, alluding to the Sith kind of having that willpower of the hatred will keep them alive. My problems, I think, with Reva was that. Oh, and TJ, we're going to get to that because there was a lot of good stuff with Vader in this episode. My God, talking about Starkiller and stuff. But so I'm all for the undercover. I'm going to get Vader. I think my problem that I had with Reva, it was too much back and forth in this episode, especially of when that reveal happened of Obi-Wan. I like that. Okay, she revealed the story and all her friends. Where were you? Again, putting more guilt on Obi-Wan. But I think she went back and forth of being like very caring and then very angry very quickly. And I hate to say this, I do think this is a bit on. It's either the acting or if this is a direction thing. This is on Deborah Chow, but I think this is more the acting where I just think that the actress isn't the greatest at the subtlety sometimes of the character, and it's either when she's mad, she's very, very mad, and when she's caring, she's very caring, and she feels like she's going to turn light side, and that's where it's just like, I think that they played it or directed her wrongly, especially in this episode where I'm supposed to feel bad for her, but the second this whole reveal happens, I still remember when she, cut an old lady's hand off that was innocent Tatooine. I remember all these bad things she did. So I wish she kind of just took the route of, yeah, she's still evil. She still wants revenge on Vader, but she understands this thing with Obi-Wan of like, yeah, I could work with Obi-Wan, where it felt more like a her turning to the light side with Obi-Wan sort of situation. And I thought that was kind of messy. And I know there's been rumors about it, and I'm not opposed to if there is some sort of Reva spinoff or something like that. But the fact that Vader and the Grand Inquisitor did not kill her is a very eye-rolly, like, okay, you just needed, if we do get a show, this is what you needed. Again, just there's not any other way you could have made it so they think she's dead or she got, like, there's nothing else you could have done. It reminded me exactly like Vader, Obi-Wan the Fire, where a fire came up and Vader could not just walk around it. It was just, oh, I can't get her. And same thing, like, oh, Reva's down, she's good. Like, I don't know. I don't think, like, they would not just kill her, maybe kidnap her, use, like, there's all these things they would do, but just to leave her there and somebody that you know is a target to you, it didn't sit right with me. So there's some things I liked about Reva, some things I didn't. The character I'm still very unsure on, but I think overall, if you have to ask me at the end of the series where I put it, it's more leaning negative, but I'm very down the road of it because I like certain things. So,
like, just adding on to before I throw it to Taylor, like what you're talking about, how like the moments that she'd be really caring, or like really, really mad, she'd be really, really mad. And it was kind of hard to gear like what her personality was. And I think that was an issue like when she was first introduced. It's like, okay, she's kind of behaving weird, but maybe she has her own plot. And then it's like, okay, I'll give the show some time to explain more of her character. And I think just now we're in episode 5, and the explanation I got for the character, it's just like she's kind of been flippy floppy the whole show. And I think I just every time like. She's like commanding the stormtroopers to like break down the bunker. We're gonna kill these families. We're gonna get to Obi-Wan. We're like screaming, and then she goes up to the door and she's like just like having this whisper conversation with Obi-Wan and like basically just like plotting Vader's murder like through a door. It was kind of weird for me.
The other thing that struck me weird is one point when they're, like you said, they're going through the door and she's just like, strike them down, like tear them down. And then like literally 5 seconds later, everyone's like, there's families back there, like Reva. And she's like, there is families. And I just don't think it was natural. You know, like even then they could have done some route of, all the stuff you're seeing, I got to put this on for Vader, all of them. But they didn't take that route. They took that route as far as like she's all over emotionally, which could kind of work, but I don't think it's them intentionally doing that. I don't think the show has done a good enough job of saying, oh yeah, she's that emotional of a character. Sure, she was a youngling and had a very tough upbringing and things like that, but they also made it seem like she's still cognizant. Like if you believe her, she's been smart enough to fake her whole way to get to this point to almost take out Vader, right? So that's where it's just like, is she a reckless character? Is she a smart, plotting character? And it feels like they kind of want all the same, and unless you're the Joker, that usually doesn't work out, or you're being written by Tarantino. Like, you need to be precise with that writing, and I don't think they have been.
And like just because of her behavior, like being kind of wishy-washy, it's really hard for me to believe like, okay, their stormtroopers are stupid, but like they're just this huge like platoon just like watching this Inquisitor like plot Darth Vader, and like, okay, you know,
one is like 5 feet away from Obi-Wan, less than 5 feet, and he's like, fuck, they're talking about killing Vader, shit, like,
so like,
but I don't like him.
And I this is just what adds into my reason on like why I think she should have been something other than an Inquisitor. I think there's potential for me to really like the character if she was just in a different, I don't know, like alignment or something. Like if she was just this rogue character that just like nobody knew what she kind of was, and she's just like hunting down. Like for me, I think that's just such a more interesting character. Anyways, I'll let Taylor talk.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm curious to see where you fall on this.
I'm actually very surprised at your guys' stances on this. I think this episode completely sold me on Reva. I am 125% in on just the whole dynamic she delivered. I liked when she started to be compromised and that emotional change where we've seen her just be completely angry and frustrated and just full of hatred. Completely changed once Obi-Wan like reached out with the Force and tapped into what her origin really is and compromised her, and that's when it kind of broke down for her a little bit. And I love that it kind of brought her to a little bit. I don't like, it was definitely a suspicious conversation, but not suspicious enough for stormtroopers holding Obi-Wan down on the ground to like justify any cause. I would say I think the real conversation, like the real betrayal, was when Obi-Wan was at the door and actually said, like, that was where they actually really discussed like turning on Vader. But it wasn't.
When he's on his knees, he's like, you and I can work together. And if I'm a stormtrooper hearing that, I'd be like, why are you working together?
I don't think he said that there. I think
we can do it
when
together.
it was up to the door.
I'm gonna pull pull some Disney Plus
Yeah.
Pull it up.
subtitles
He was
right
with Fern,
now.
but he
He's like, I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
said that at the door when he was on his knees. I'm pretty sure he was just kind of inflicting like he'll be focused on me, like, and all he said was just like, you're Mr. Cardenas.
Who knows?
obviously
There's
doesn't
3
like
of us,
me.
so
Fuck.
yeah.
He's
We
obviously
all
talking
have
about
different
me.
opinions, so yeah, it could be either one of us.
But I just think that, yeah, when she's standing there and he's like, you aren't. Well, I guess when you say you're hunting him, that's definitely a little suspicious. But hey, stormtroopers are pretty stupid, so they're not questioning anything. But no, at the end of the day, I liked Reva a lot in this episode, and I just felt like it was Sith-like. It was very much her getting her revenge. And the thing that really did it for me was seeing the comparisons of the flashbacks. I'm pretty sure we all knew that this was obviously Reva, and that opening sequence is the Padawan and the youngling. That made sense. And so seeing her in this sequence now, when she just talks about how Vader was storming the temple, and you get those flashbacks, I'm getting goosebumps thinking like, holy fuck, this is terrifying. And he, again, I didn't think we get a scene, but here he is. We got a scene of him cutting down younglings,
like from the perspective of the
From-
younglings, too.
from the
Yeah.
perspective of the
He's this tall
younglings.
oak with a blue lightsaber. Like,
Oh
fuck.
my god! And then her just talking like, I thought he was here to help us, and like he killed all my friends, my
I
family.
picture
but
that being like a VR
fuck.
game, just like the youngling perspective.
Oh, it's gonna
Star
happen
Wars
now,
younglings.
for sure.
Yeah.
So after that sequence, and then she just talks about how she played dead. Confirm yourself, Travis.
So he says we could end this together, which I think is a pretty damning line in my opinion. For like, if you were to use "we" in any context, and I get it, yeah, stormtroopers are stormtroopers, but again, just have some separation. Then, like, have them a bit further away. You could have. They didn't actually need this scene because I feel like it was awkward where he's on his knees and she's like, take him to the room. Just you two. Like, just you two. No one else. And then
There were more
Obi-Wan
dudes in there, though.
Was there?
There was.
We
When
only
they
saw-
walked in, you could see more stormtroopers standing inside.
So, like, what do you mean? Like, so he's on his knees and then the 2 take him in there. We just see Obi-Wan, like, shoot the 2, you know?
Well, they go in there, but if you look past the 2 as they walk in, there's more standing on guard inside there.
Okay, I'll take your word. I'm not going to look for that. But still, I still thought it was weird where we have a battalion of stormtroopers, like 50 of us behind us, and this big gun. And like, no, we're going to put Obi-Wan, like, in this room by himself. Now, I get that she wanted him to kind of escape, but again, I feel like, and then it still works because at the end of the day, Darth Vader knows she's like, fuck, like, he knows there's something up. So that's why you could attest that maybe the stormtroopers, and this is how I can canon it, that maybe they were like, yeah, like, she's fucking, like, she's compromised, man. Like, she's talking about Obi-Wan, like, getting lunch with him. She's talking about all this stuff. Like, no, Reva's not good. I still think, like, where I push back with you is, like, I get that she was compromised, but then she does just go to try and kill these families again, you know, of, like, it feels like she's too all over the map for me to get into. I wish there was,
When
like,
did she like turn around and go kill those families? Because that didn't.
when you talked about at the beginning, when you said that she has that conversation that compromised her, that's in the wall. And then after, my favorite thing is they've been shooting at this wall for 50 minutes, and she just takes a lightsaber and then she walks right in. You're like, why didn't we just fucking lead with that? Yeah, the door's weakened. But after that wall gets broken, that's when she's like, strike the people down. Like, she's threatening these kids' lives. So that's where it's like, I can't buy
Did
the
she
whole.
actually say that? Like,
I'll find it.
I need a line confirming of that too, because I don't know about that. I took that sequence as she just didn't trust Obi-Wan, because again, she called him out for like, where were you? Like, you weren't there. What were you doing? And she just didn't trust him. So again, she just got consumed by her rage again.
See, all of that is so good, and it's just like, for me, the fault there is that she's just like in the Inquisitor robe, and it's just like, I feel like they're trying to do like this person that's in 2 camps, and it just didn't work for me. I think personally I would have want them to focus on just the one route, because as you mentioned, like, those lines of her like blaming Obi-Wan, like, some of that stuff was mentioned earlier on. Travis, you can
Wipe them out. Wipe them out was the term she used. So I don't know how emotionally, like, she's feeling like a good guy. If she's like, she sees kids running away and she says, wipe them out. She's no better than Anakin in this moment. Now, again, later
Give me the
on,
finger.
Obi-Wan
She needs
says that to
trophies.
her, but I think that's the problem, that they should have had that conversation maybe in one scene. It was weird that they had the convo. Okay, I'm still got to kill them all. And then, there's families back there. It's like, she clearly doesn't give a fuck about these families. Like, she doesn't.
In this character's defense, like, she
Wow,
never. It was never
defending
implied that she
Chacha.
actually gave a shit about the families or anything. Her only care was for Vader, and Obi-Wan did use that to his advantage. Like again, he said like he's gonna be focused on me. At
But
the end,
when he
he
says-
didn't convince her by using the families. He convinced her by using himself as the bait.
But that's where I say as a writer, then that same scene we're talking about where he says he's focused on me, that's the same scene where he says there's families in there. So take that out. Take that. That's why I said like this was the problem with Reva for me, is that they should just made her just pissed the whole time. Make her just want to fucking kill Vader. But this whole like, yo, there might be someone good in you. We've not really seen that. And then when we see that right away, she's back to like being very, and I wish even this where I think the acting part is, when she was compromised, when they had that door conversation, when she's in there yelling, wipe them out, she doesn't seem changed at all. She doesn't seem compromised in that moment. She seems like she's just back to Sith Reva. She just like wants to kill them all for the mission. So I feel like whether it's directing or acting, and even the dialogue, like some of the lines now, it's just like, it's kind of all over the map. Like I just don't know. And again, some might be like, well, we might get more of that. But again, that doesn't mean too much for me right now, because Clay did say something about season 2, which I'll bring up, but
yeah. I'll have to when I rewatch it, I'll dissect a bit more.
you're gonna hear that wipe them out.
I don't see it as a negative. I just see it as Obi-Wan playing on like a compromising emotion by reaching out with the Force, with her trying to reason with her like any Jedi would. Didn't work. It backfired. So then it came to, okay, now he's gonna go with the alternate method, which is by figuring out what she really wants and using that against her, which ultimately he did again towards
He's playing
Vader
her like a
in
Sith
this.
Lord. I love it.
Yeah, like he's playing it out, and it was really, really good. Again, leading into the fight sequence where Reva was coming up to actually attack Darth Vader, I thought that was great. I liked how we got to learn how she really knew it was Vader as Anakin.
Yeah.
But
Kind of like we all said, but episode
Yeah.
1, again, another thing everyone was losing their mind. How does she know he's on again? Like, just wait a little bit. And that's where the good thing, because obviously we've had that happen in Star Wars where they just don't tell you. And that's why I think that's a Deborah Chow thing where, like, whether it's her or the team that's writing with her, they made sure, like, okay, let's connect this. It was great for Obi-Wan to, like, call that out and be like, there must be a reason. And it worked. And we even talked about that too, where when we got that first shot of the younglings in episode 1, I'm like, oh, we're gonna get the Hayden flashback right here, and we didn't. I was like, okay, that's fine, but I thought it was missed opportunity. But I was like, oh no, they were just saving it for like this penultimate moment here, and it was great. And then we get the fight.
that fight was that was something else, because he didn't have to whip out his lightsaber. I don't think he whipped it out at all. He just used Reva's and just was a fucking a taunt, a tease.
Probably left it in the ship. He's like, I don't fucking need
He
my
had it on
lightsaber.
him. I looked. Yeah. Well, because that's what I thought was weird. I'm like, why isn't he pulling out a lightsaber? Because I was enjoying everything with the
Beat
Reva.
the shit out of her with his fists.
With his no force, he's just like a fucking 5-champ boxer. Let's go, Reva. He's like uppercutting her, and this like stormtroopers are what? He's
beats the shit.
yeah. She's just like in Fight Club, just a pulp, and he's just like, I told you to listen, Reva, and he's just like,
You like, can't see her eye. It's all swollen.
yeah. He like takes his helmet off and like fucking beats her down with everything. But so I was still loving the fight, because that's what I was talking about, non-spoilers, of like getting a Sith. I don't care. The Inquisitors aren't Sith, they're Sith. They cheated. They are Sith. There's 5 fucking Sith users going on. Palpatine's a liar. He's a hypocrite. All of them. They broke Darth Bane's rule. Get over it. They broke canon. There's no chosen one either. So anyway, so they doing this fight, and I'm like, we've never had this in live action, like a Sith versus a Sith here, like all this like dark side power going on. And I like that Vader's like, okay, he's moving around, stuff like that. But I was like, if we don't get the actual like lightsabers clashing even for a little bit, I was like, oh, that's a missed opportunity too, because how cool is it to see like 2 red lightsabers like fighting each other in live action? We've never gone that, like, please juice me, stuff like that. And they juiced me good. Now it's a small fight scene, but that's what I like, because that's Vader's at like his peak right now. Like, he's the most powerful as far as just like power, right? You could argue that as Anakin, he was a better lightsaber duelist, but as we see here, he's just like flipping Reva, and there's some cool stuff where he like pushes Reva and she like handsprings out of it. It's like, okay, she's like, again, she's putting up as much as a fight as she can, which I like. So I thought that was a good moment. And again, I think it was ruined by, I like the Inquisitor walking out. I didn't think keeping her alive made any sense. We'll talk about like the chat, talking about what's gonna happen next. I know why now, like what they want to go to, just like how we got there, just like walk away. Very, very lazy. But the actual fight, oh, so happy they gave us. I was getting so hyped when we were like, oh man, we're about to see these red lightsabers clash right now, and we got it, and fuck yeah,
Yeah, I was worried he was gonna just like one tap her. I was like, oh
Yeah.
I hope we get like a real fight here. And I love the
Like
fact
Obi-Wan
that-
versus Count Dooku.
yeah. Like I love the fact that he didn't like unsheath his saber, and he was just like it's basically like a kung fu master against like a white belt. Like he was
Yeah.
just absolutely playing with her, and it was so fun to see. I think like just seeing Vader in those moments is so fun for me because I think we're pretty limited in that, like in the original movies. So any time I get more of that, it's exciting. Again, another reason why I got to eventually get to like Rebels and those types of shows, because I know he has a little bit more, stuff like that going on. But I thought overall like the fight choreography was a little bit weird at some moments, but like overall, I think I was in it more for the fact of like what Travis said, just like red on red lightsabers going at it, and just like the shadows. Like it was kind of a dark environment that they're fighting in, so you had a lot of like red saber glare. I thought that was really good. And yeah, they had some interesting moves. I love when he just like ripped the sabers in half, gave it to her, and like again, like he's just having fun. And then the crazy reveal that the real Grand Inquisitor showed up. I wasn't really surprised by it, but it was still a fun moment, and completely agree with you, Travis. It's like there's zero reason why they would have just left her there.
Yeah, they
Like,
kill like
zero
random
reason.
people on the street. They kill like
Yeah.
like Vader. We just saw
Wipe
2
them
episodes ago.
out.
Yeah, we just saw 2 episodes ago where Vader just like broke a son's neck for like cuz, and like so this person that like still a force user still at least at some point tricked them enough to kind of get in here. I'm sure at some point Vader and crew was like, I don't know if we trust Reva, but she tricked her enough to get her way into here, and you think there could be like she could be a useful to anybody in the rebellion or something. It's a weird note to like, nah, just leave her, she's fine. It's just like, again, even if they would have kidnapped her, but
I got a question for you, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Travis knows the answer to this, but like, where does the Grand Inquisitor like lie on like the ranking scale? Is he like a peon compared to Vader, or are they like, Vader's like the Sith guy, but like this guy is
in
he's
the
the manager.
in the whole hierarchy, it's Sidious, Vader, and then the Inquisitorius underneath, led by the Grand
Okay.
Inquisitor.
isn't you're just on force user? I was gonna say, because isn't Tarkin kind of on Vader's level a little bit? Like, not really, because Vader could just fuck him up, but Tarkin like does boss Vader around quite a bit.
He can, but it's a variable of like political things. Grand Moff Tarkin is very powerful in the political scheme of things, and so that definitely has a large amount of leverage over Vader, where Vader's
right.
standing. Vader is definitely like, in terms of
He's just the
political
muscle.
presence, he's not. He's not. Up
he's
there,
not at the
but,
meetings.
No,
It
he's not at
was-
those meetings.
On that
Have we
note-
looked at the bill about cleaning lightsabers? It's getting way too expensive. I have to.
On that note, I loved when Reva shows up, and then he's like, "Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lord Vader. This is gonna be so awesome." He's like, "I'm not in for civilities or whatever the word he said." He's just like, "Where the fuck is he?" Like, I love that side of Vader where he's just like, as you mentioned, Taylor, like he's not in it for the political side of it. Like he's just like, "Give me my fucking answers right now. Like this is what I want," and he just gets his boots on the ground, and that was, yeah, I loved all that stuff. But thanks for answering that, because I was curious when the Grand Inquisitor showed up, and he just took over the meeting. He's
Give
like,
me my pin back.
yeah, like it was just weird for me because because I didn't have too much knowledge on like the hierarchy. I'm like, there's just this guy that just like steps in front of Vader. It's like, "Oh, you brought me my prey," and then he's just it's like, it is as if it was like his plan all along. Meanwhile, Vader's just like, "Get the fuck back," But it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, the Inquisitors, again, the whole method of how Vader fought the third sister Reva, I really enjoyed that. It was just reflective of how he trains Inquisitors in the comics. He literally kicks the shit out of them. He cuts them arms off, he stabs them, like he fucks them up and leaves them for dead in their training sessions. So this feels like
Just
like a
"Fuck you,
lesson.
Obi-Wan." All of them
Yeah,
with just
but-
Obi-Wan in his eyes.
You could say it feels like a lesson, but I feel like you're trying to like can't head canon that too much, because there's not like they're like bringing her back and be like, okay, on Sunday you can be back with us. Like she's
I'm
a
not
threat
expecting
now.
them. If she was a threat, they would have killed her. honestly, I feel like they don't see her as a threat. Pure, they
Should've.
just left her there. And if she does, obviously, she's not going to make it out of this show. I don't think. But
Yeah, but
She's gonna
even
kill
then, like,
Vader by the
she
end of
knows
the show.
information. She knows stuff, like, on some level. Like, again, they've killed people for less. That's where it doesn't. Even in this series, they've killed people for less. That's where it doesn't track for me. Of like, oh, she's not a threat.
But sometimes, though, isn't like just killing someone. That's not necessarily all the damage you have to do. Like I think he knows the damage he did to her when he's standing there and he calls her out like, oh, I remember youngling or whatever. Like literally, that line just is fucking traumatizing to her, and she's like frozen in fear, and he knows it, and just like one quick poke with his lightsaber, she's fucking down and out for the count.
I
So
was curious if he was gonna say something there. That line was so it was good. It was so deep and it was just personal, like oh no, I did remember you. You're still a piece of shit like you were back then.
Yeah, one thing I thought was gonna happen, because at one point when he had two lightsabers, I thought he was gonna Dooku her because he was holding them like that,
that
and I
was
was
my
like,
first thought,
oh,
for
I
sure.
kinda
shouldn't.
Yeah, I kind of hope, because I would rather
Do
go
it.
that route. Because after let's talk about. We're gonna take an ad break and we'll talk about where we see Reva and the ending tease. And don't worry, we're getting the flashbacks, everything. We got lots to talk about, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, so she's alive, like I said. So we're kind of mixed on that. Me and Kirklin are more in the camp of not so much. Taylor thought it worked for him. So. But what they're doing here is, again, I don't know if this was planned for her own solo show or season 2, because they have talked about, like, Kathleen Kennedy said, oh, we might do it. And Ewan's been like, oh, I'd like to do it again. So this is, again, where, like, I wanted her to die, not because my problems with the character, just because I thought that'd be a fitting ending. She tried to take her shot at Vader, didn't work, and it just even shows the power of Vader of, like, again, too, it just feels weird if, like, they'd be like, oh, so you killed her, right, Vader? Oh, no, I stabbed her and, like, left her there. Like, why?
totally showed her.
Yeah. She's still alive? Yeah, she's a family, everything. Why did you, like, but anyway, so, like, I guess I didn't agree with that, and I knew that, okay, they're leaving her for something. So then she finds, like, the communication things Obi-Wan did, and she's watching this video of Bail Organa talking about Owen and Tatooine the boy. I understood completely of, okay, she knows about Luke Skywalker now and he's important, but I did not understand why the fuck did we need this at any point for this show, and also just for Reva's character, because like, they didn't know that Leia is Vader's kid. So it has nothing to do with it. So I don't see her jumping to, oh man, Luke is Leia's kid. Luke is Anakin's kid. Now watch, she'll find something in the fucking archives again, and be like, oh, I found this. But, like, I don't know what the point of her knowing where Luke is. So what could, like, they didn't set up in a situation where I feel like Reva needs to go get revenge on Obi-Wan, so she's gonna fuck up Tatooine. I don't get that. She, as of right now, like, Bale didn't even say, like, Skywalker. He didn't say anything. So, like, I guess the idea would be like, oh, I'm maybe gonna get Luke to get Vader to coax him out of here and something like that. It feels very convoluted as of right now. I'm waiting and seeing whether it is the next episode, a series, spinoff, whatever it may be, for them to maybe explain this. But I saw this and I was like, this actually really doesn't interest me at all, of Reva doing this and Obi-Wan having this, like, oh, I'm feeling something. Something's bad. He's like, oh, it's nothing. So I'm open to see where it goes. But on as we've talked about before, the pitch of this is like, this just didn't. They felt like they wanted this to be this huge moment. It's like, why is this a huge moment? And if Reva goes after this boy again, this whole, she was like maybe like having some good guy feelings, it's all over. It's all like a mess. So I don't know, where are you guys on this whole Luke being revealed to Reva, and it seems like she's going to go after him in some situation. We don't know of what yet.
Taylor?
I actually like it. Again, I think she's super pissed. She just got fucking used and is mad at Obi-Wan now. So
stabbed.
Why is she mad? Okay, but why is she
stabbed and
mad at
everything.
Obi-Wan? This makes no sense.
Because she was under the impression that it would be like, oh, this time we'll do it together or something.
No,
like that.
she never agreed to that.
She didn't agree to it, but I feel like it was definitely Obi-Wan was implying it. But
It's like, all right, Reva, we'll totally take him out. He just
'Cause-
runs.
like Obi-Wan insinuated the fact like he'll be focused on me and you can,
He
you know, you can
was,
hunt
though.
him. He was.
She took
but,
too long to ignite that
Oh,
fucking
she did,
lightsaber.
and that was
she
that
should have
was
force
her
ran it.
fault. It was her fault.
You
But
know.
when you're confused by anger and hatred, like I feel like it's just gonna be justified on her why she's gonna go to Tatooine and do it. And this isn't the first time like being hit home on Tatooine has occurred. Like Maul went there and when Maul started to tempt and like, oh, you're protecting someone here, and then that's when like it got serious with Obi-Wan. So for me, I'm getting this maybe a little bit biased parallel here, where I'm getting this kind of sense with Reva, and I'm
But
liking
do you want
that
them to really?
dynamic.
But do you want them just to copy Maul's dynamic of to kind of use the boy to upset Obi-Wan? Because it's like we saw Obi-Wan become fucking Luke Skywalker from Last Jedi. In
Not
this
everyone
episode.
knows this, so like not everyone knows that Maul and Reva like dynamic that we're like touching upon. So I think it's okay, and I want to see it in live action. So for me, it works for me because I mean that Maul thing, that's over and done with. So that happened a few years ago. So
See, I'm on the other side where it's like, man, as someone that's already watched this, it's like, oh, we're gonna do it again. Because it was funny. Like I didn't agree, but like I get people were saying that like last week was just like a kind of a New Hope copy with trying to get Leia and everything, and then this week, like I said, this felt like it literally was the third act of Last Jedi. Of there's a door and everyone's trying to get out, and you have old man Obi-Wan trying to be like, how do we do? And like, oh, we just gotta buy time. It's literally Last Jedi.
I literally thought for a moment, I'm like, is he just gonna like force like project himself?
When he's like,
Click
there's
in here.
other weapons than a lightsaber. It's like, fuck, if he gets out there, the internet's going to destroy this. And like the other weapon was just, I
Strike
guess.
me down and I'll come back.
Yeah,
Whatever the
yeah.
line is.
And I guess the other weapon for Obi-Wan was just like a second ship. So cool, buddy. But like, yeah, so. Kirklin, where are you on this whole Reva Luke business?
Yeah, I think I'm siding more with Travis on this one, where like any redemption thing that they're showing off on her of like, oh, this is her moment to like, she's not for the Empire, like she's just she's on a revenge mission and it ends with Vader, so she's gonna do that. And if it doesn't happen, I imagine she'll just dust herself off and get back up there and try and find Vader. But then she found this communicator, and it was just this weird, like, I'm just not buying like the motivation for her like wanting to go after Luke. I think if she, like in the show, as I mentioned before, like if she was completely Inquisitor, like 100% for the cause, like I'm a fucking bad guy, but maybe she's still, I don't know, something else, and then like it would just, I would believe the evil tendency like a lot more, but she's just been so like flip floppy that it just seems like something shoehorned in there just to have this new character that was introduced for the show to come back and like interact with Obi-Wan again. So it's not a strong believable reason for me personally, but like Travis said, I guess I'm okay to see where it goes, and hopefully it goes somewhere good. But
Well, and this is what I want to bring up too, because Mr. Cardenas says a Reva show is so unnecessary. I don't know about that, because I'm always open to see what they could do with the character. Would I be that excited? No, not really. It's kind of like trying to think about what MCU there. I can't remember. Oh, it's kind of like, here's a perfect example is Echo. I like Echo enough from the comic books, but when like Echo's getting her own show, as of right now, I'm like, I don't really give two shits about the Echo show at all. They did not give me enough to care about it. So it's the same thing as this. Like, it's Star Wars, it's Reva, there's some potential there, but I wouldn't, that wouldn't be a hype thing. If we hear that at D23 in September, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, the Reva show. I think what I may would rather want that though than my worry of her being the season 2 villain, because my worry is she's the season 2 villain for Obi-Wan, and that gives someone Obi-Wan to kill that we have no idea what happens in canon, so it's just like easy. And I just feel like it's her, like in canon she can't really go after Vader, so she's just gonna be like, oh well, all my anger's at Obi-Wan now, and all like. That to me so far, there's nothing that they've presented that I think is like an interesting story for either one. Like a Reva show of her like just trying to find a way to get at Vader one more time, that interests me more than I'm mad at Obi-Wan now, like that. I just feel like that is just one, again, like I said, it's already kind of repetition of Maul, but then two, I'd rather like the Star Killer, like if you want to kind of steal and make her a Star Killer, where she just has this way she wants to try and get at Vader. Obviously she hasn't been presented as bad as Star Killer as far as power wise, but sure, maybe she trains, maybe the hate throws through or whatever, so I can be sold on it, but it's not like the top tier. And Femmically, it is like Hoth, but it's just like it's exactly like Last Jedi too, it's just like they're both, you got the fifth movie, you got the second of the sequel trilogy, and then you got the fifth episode. It's all, what is it, poetry or rhymes as far as George Lucas is, but I guess it's just because like it looks so similar to Last Jedi, like not great, but just like it's like a sandy place and stuff like that. And And you said the K's were just like half the bad guys taking a win, just like Empire Strikes Back. Well, Last Jedi they took a win, except at the end of Millennium Falcon, they're all fucking smiling about it. You know, like they've lost like 50 people, but like fuck, it's like great, we're on the Falcon. That Last Jedi's another story. But what do you guys feel about the like? What would you rather see? A season 2 of Obi-Wan with Reva as the villain, a Reva show, or none of the above?
Like there's potential, I guess, in just fleshing out more to the Reva story that maybe you could persuade someone like me that like isn't really a fan of the character right now. Like if you just fill in those cracks and I don't know, like make her more of what I've seen in this show, yeah, for sure. But I think it's definitely not at the top of my want list by any means. It's just it's gonna be one of those things that if it comes out, I'll check it out 'cause it's Star Wars and obviously. You know, I made it this far in Obi-Wan. I know about the character, so definitely watch it there. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not asking for it by any means. I just want more Acolyte information at this point.
Yeah, and I do think I don't know, wonder for a viewership wise, I think it's smart per an Obi-Wan because I don't know. It's kind of like the Echo Show of me where I'm like, I just don't know. Other than, of course, you get you have your base of people that are always going to tune into Marvel Star Wars, but I don't know if this character would pull many people in because I feel like not even talking about like the fucking racist assholes, not those people. I just feel like the character for normal people is very kind of lukewarm in the community. I feel like most people, and I'm excited to see after this episode because Taylor says this sold them on him, so I'm excited to see if more people got sold. I haven't really seen that yet, but Taylor, where are you as far as a show, Obi-Wan 2, or maybe just like the character could stay here and we move on?
I don't need a Reva show necessarily, and I don't need a season. I don't need a season 2 of Obi-Wan in general. I really don't. I think
it's happening.
God, I honestly like. I know when it comes out, I'll love it and all that because I'm always.
You didn't want an Obi-Wan show to begin with.
No,
I remember we talked about this.
I'm a fucking Star Wars fan, true and true. So I'll always fucking fall.
True and true.
But
yeah.
I really don't think they need to do it. And if they do it, they really don't need to have Reva as the main villain. I think you cap out this show, like do the next episode, give us a full hour and have that awesome final like fight sequence with Darth Vader and everything. And then we could have it close out with an end credit scene, like, and just, give us the Obi-Wan treatment where that fight lasted like it was a solid like 45 seconds to a minute. And it was just so powerful in how that scene was executed. And just do that with her, have her send off, and just make it very meaningful and
same dialogue. Is he the chosen one? Like just yes,
he will avenge us or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah, they don't have to bring her back in the future. But that being said, if they don't follow up on this storyline at all in the next episode, then I'd be intrigued to see what happens. Maybe they'll introduce her back in like an animated series or something, Bad Batch season 2 or something like that.
Yeah, or comics. I'm not opposed again, but if she's alive, we're definitely seeing her again at some point. That's a given. There's no reason. If this was the end of the road for her, they would have just killed her right there. So some form of media, we will see Reva again, unless she dies next week.
Well, that's just it. That's why I think something climactic will happen with her in next week's episode because she's on death's doorstep right now, and we had such a big potent scene of seeing Luke Skywalker at the end of this episode. So I feel like that was intentionally like a cliffhanger to set up something with her story coming to an end or continuing in next week's finale.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about because so we have I guess we should just talk about. We got an opening of the fucking flashbacks, what everyone's been wanting, right, of the Clone Wars era. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get like the Clone Wars animated outfits. I was hoping they would do that as like a fun kind of tribute to that, but it was like, okay, clearly them training. The scene was great as far as story wise, as far as they both are looking upon like how they work and stuff like that, and him knowing that Vader is going to push because that's what he is. He's focused on victory. He's so just want, like Taylor put, tunnel vision on one set goal, right? And that's why it wasn't just like, okay, cool, a quick flashback to show them in the Clone Wars era or prequel era. It had a story reason of him remembering a training lesson that he could put towards this mission. It was strange that they, like, if they did, they chose to DH Hayden very little. It was very, like I'm fine because
those crow's feet for sure.
Well, like, and it's just so funny because like this is the time where he's a Padawan, and you look at Attack of the Clones, like it's like Ewan's clearly a man, and Hayden looks like a boy or a teenager. Hayden looks like Obi-Wan's father, you know? Like, it was weird that they did this way. And the good thing is, these are maybe 30 to 40 seconds of scenes with Hayden. I loved it. It was great seeing the back and forth. Obi-Wan getting the best of him. I can hand wave it. It's fine. It works. But it was weird that they didn't. It just kind of felt like, hey, put this wig on and we're good to go. Like, they de-aged Sam Jackson. We are in a world where they de-aged the It kids for It Chapter 2. So it's like they could have just done a little bit. And if they did, then they weren't using that Luke Skywalker guy. But I thought this was, again, great fan service, but also great to kind of tribute to the rest of the episodes as far as showing a training lesson going forward. So Taylor, you must have been juicing at that with this this training scene.
I was juicing, I was pouring juice and everything. It was great. So
It won't stop flowing.
yeah, this sequence and the other flashbacks, like I don't mind flashbacks in Star Wars. It seems to be a very prominent reoccurring theme these days, but this was very good. This was, instead of the back to tanks and the hammer smacking, it was Vader staring at the hyperspace lines.
Much better.
Much better, yeah. So the sequence when Hayden turns around, I was like, oh my god, like, oh, it's that like How to Train Your Dragon, like, you're as beautiful as the day I lost you gift.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Good call. Good call.
Just absolutely fantastic. And then young Obi-Wan strolls out thinking, holy shit, like, I'm a little kid again. I'm watching Attack of the Clones here. This is incredible. So they start they whip their sabers out and they just start going to town and all these other flashbacks. And you're right, Anakin looked definitely a little aged.
A little
aged, yeah.
A little
But-
20 years aged.
yeah, a little 20 years aged. But I'm totally, like, I'm fine with it. Like, whatever makeup and de-aging they did, that wasn't enough. It's still okay. It's just, it was great to see, like, both authentic actors there. Not, like, super CGI'd or tweaked, but, like, we just got both. It felt like, okay, great. The realistic, both actors there doing these sequences together. And I really like that and I appreciate it. It's just good fan service all around. And like you mentioned, the development that it had pushing forward for the characters and their strategies, I really liked. And right up to when it's like, oh, Obi-Wan's like, oh, it's over. And that's just how Anakin's like, oh, yeah, surrender, master, or whatever. And their flashbacks. Like, it was just the cool paralleling dynamic. And yeah, it led to some scary shit. But Obi-Wan's always just coming out on top in those fights. Like, you're what did he say? You're not your tunnel vision, but like, you're just pushed to win or whatever. Like, it blinds you.
Your
to be
tunnel
your
vision's
undoing.
blinding
Your
you,
tunnel vision's
Anakin.
blinding you, yeah.
I think it was his focus, just his focus on victory or something like that.
Right.
Like,
His
that's
need
all
for victory.
His need for victory, yeah. Because that's a Anakin trait, you know. So
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. That was
Absolutely.
top tier.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. I mean, like, it's just like nostalgia moment where, like, I couldn't believe I was actually seeing just like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, like, you know, like, they even gave Hayden like the little braid, the
Yeah.
Padawan braid. Like, it was like, I think I was like, just before the show coming out, it's like, oh, that would be so crazy. Again, like, 1 in a million chance that we'll see like the Padawan braid on Hayden again, and then like we actually got it. So I think I was just like smiling for those reasons. But yeah, his crow's feet were definitely noticeable for me, and he definitely looked older than Obi-Wan.
it was weird. It was super weird. Like, it's like they de-age Ewan as like a fucking joke. Like, we're not gonna de-age Hayden, you know? Like, let's just leave him current day. And even like Ewan didn't look like exact like he did Attack of the Clones, but he looked like younger. So it was a strange choice. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
And it just felt like Hayden was actually like taller than he used to be too.
Oh,
He was like fucking
100%.
towering. I mean, I think it's actually what happened is Ewan, like, it happens when you're older because he's older, is like shrunken a little. Like, Hayden again, he looked like his fucking father. He's like, man, he's big.
picked him up in his arms and piggyback ride him out of there. But yeah, no, I really, really, really liked how that was opening, and then I wasn't sure how it was gonna, like, how much of that was gonna happen in this episode, and then it just cuts like straight to Darth Vader, just like cold face. And I liked how there was a couple times where it would go to like that memory of the fight, and then, you know, Obi-Wan's teaching him a lesson, and then it just goes to like Darth Vader, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is the result. Like, there's no coming back. Like, he has the armor, he is full bad guy. Like, he's never gonna have a conversation like that with Obi-Wan ever again. So it was really, really good, in my opinion, like, usage of both of those, and then like only really showing that when you would lead into like a Darth Vader moment or something along those lines. And yeah, it was it was gorgeous to just see like Hayden and Ewan just like conversing again as Master and Padawan, and Hayden just being, I'm turning to Taylor, I'm using their real names. Anakin just like turned into like a full menace of, he was basically doing like the Luke attack when he's fighting Vader in episode 6, I think it is, when he's just like beating on him like constantly. And it was good. It was good. I liked how at the end, you know, Obi-Wan just hand-to-hand combat, disarmed him. And,
little elbow to the neck.
yeah. There was one moment too where he like still had his lightsaber and they're kind of deflecting, and then he just kind of like goes back to back with him, and he's like
Yeah.
he's kind of like blocked. It was kind of weird.
And he's like talking at the
That
same
felt
time.
prequel fighting, and I love that
he's
shit.
like a
Whispering
div.
in his ear.
Yeah.
yeah.
You didn't get me, Anakin. And then he's like moving along and stuff. It's like, fuck off, Obi-Wan. But again, why Obi-Wan and the Jedi Council were terrible masters. If anyone were to see this game tape of like Anakin training, you'd be like, sit Obi-Wan down, like, hey, like, your boy's got some fucking problems. Like no more. Like, or we're gonna like deep training, or he's not gonna be a Jedi. These guys failed him left, right, and center. You know, like goddamn.
Here's a size comparison, so you can see Anakin. Like he's still pretty tall. He's
He
taller than
is
Obi-Wan,
tall, but I
so-
just thought in
Oh,
this he
he's way
towered
taller.
over him.
Yeah.
It was like Big Show versus Rey Mysterio like level tall.
It was like
it
when Keanu Reeves was at that like stage and they did the meme of like the smaller version. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, like Hayden's always been tall, and I think that was part of the reason George said like he also that's why he got him for Anakin, because he wanted Vader obviously to be a bit taller, but I just felt like he was just so much bigger, you know. But yeah, and we got a lot of good stuff here. I like that again. We were seeing much like last week, Obi-Wan kind of come into that Obi-Wan being a bit more hopeful, a bit more you know die on the dynamite, if you want to say. Where when we got this episode or like the show, it was, hey, I'm not that guy I used to be, where we're seeing the shades of that now. We're seeing where he wouldn't have even, we saw him let other people die because he just wanted to keep secret, right? Where that's not the case now. He's willing to sacrifice himself. I think Tala gave him a good conversation of like, you know, I've been a part of a lot of bad things and I can't change any of that, but at least I'm trying to make the situation better. And that makes sense because, like, yeah, you can't change that, what happened to Anakin. You can't change the fall and everything like that, but you can try to make it at least a little bit better. So all that stuff, the character work with Ewan and everything, and I guess the Obi-Wan was working out great. And what you laughing about, Taylor?
I just wanted to say, like you mentioned Tala, TJ in the chat. They didn't show if Tala died or not. I'm sorry, Tala's fucking dead.
Yeah, TJ.
She's not
you might-
surviving.
Chris.
that.
Yeah,
Thermal
maybe because
detonator.
it's late, you missed that one. Maybe you doze off for a second, like Taylor with the wipe him out. But they show her fully get exploded. It's just she's
Oh,
When
yeah.
she comes back looking like Darth Sion or something like that.
yeah, like
Yes, drops the line revenge.
yeah, like they cut this scene in Last Jedi, but Luke actually said no one's ever really gone except for Tala. Tala's gone because she got, and that's where I would say TJ mentioned earlier that can work editing were almost on barrel. I did not have that at all. I liked most of it. One moment I didn't like is when Tala sacrificed herself. They did like Obi-Wan in slow motion. It was weird. Like it just didn't flow that well at the scene. So there's a couple like choppiness, but I've seen worse on Disney Plus. So yeah, I liked everything they did with Ewan. He got away, and that's why I'm just very curious what we're gonna get next week, because I thought it was gonna leave. I thought what was gonna happen is he was gonna send that ship off, and Obi-Wan was gonna stay, and then the episode would end, and we're gonna get this big fight, and then Obi-Wan would escape, and we didn't. He's just kind of looking like he's off to drop Leia off. We know Vader wouldn't be waiting at like Tatooine. Reva might be, but Vader's not gonna be waiting there at Tatooine. So I'm very curious to see where it all kind of falls and stuff. And I know I think they've confirmed that there is a Vader Obi-Wan fight too, but I just don't know where that fits in next week in the best way, not in a worrisome way. But I like that we're again seeing Obi-Wan the hero more again, and he's having that idea of, okay, I shouldn't just give up. I could be a little bit more. And some great action moments too, him facing down the stormtroopers. I don't care. I saw so much complaint last week about like, oh man, in the hall, he'd be in the middle and there were stormtroopers at the front and back, and how could he block them? If you're a fan of the prequels, you can't say shit. You remember that fucking stadium in Attack of the Clones? There's like 50 million shots being shot at them, but they're just in a circle of 10 Jedi. Like, oh, we can block all these. So it's like, it's Star Wars. Suspend the disbelief a little bit, So, you guys got anything to add on Obi-Wan, or what you think we may see next week with the Vader situation?
No,
Actually, let's take an ad break, and then you can give me your full thoughts, your juice, everything. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So sorry, Kirklin, I cut you off before you could show your true quality.
Yeah, I was about to not show my true quality and say that I really don't know what's gonna happen, and I think that's maybe a positive on the show is it's not like a really predictable ending. Like, I know Obi-Wan's not gonna die, I know Vader's not gonna die, I know who's gonna make it out of the show, but yeah, like as you're mentioning, like we're supposed to have at least another confrontation between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, or rumored second fight or something like that. So how that's gonna happen, along with like Riva, like is like you think for sure we're seeing Riva next episode? Like there's no chance she's just gonna be gone until she's comes back on season
No,
2
I don't
or
think
her
for
own show or
sure.
something like that. Yeah.
If you were to ask me yes or no, I'd say yes, just to set what she's doing next. But I could see a version of this where you don't see her at all. I'm pretty. I'd say I'll say like 60-40 on seeing her, but it's not a strong 60.
I think if that's the case, we get like one of those Book of Boba like release or
Yeah.
like end credit, previews or whatever.
100%. It would just be like
She's in the
Reeve
back
in
of
the.
the tank.
She's not bad. Yeah, fuck. She's getting like the mechanics, like Timothy Oliphant's,
And next to her
whatever.
is Tala. Back to tank, just
Yeah,
healing
she
up.
made it. Fuck. No, yeah, it could easily just be an end credit of Tatooine and her watching Luke, and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Like, that's a good
Yeah.
call out. That could be where we see her.
So here's my pitch for the finale. We're gonna get Vader and Obi-Wan have another confrontation, but they're gonna do the ultimate callback to the Phantom Menace. They need a hyperdrive because their current hyperdrive is leaking. So they're gonna land on a nearby planet, and they're gonna have to win the hyperdrive and the parts in a pod race. And who else is gonna show up in the pod race with the parts? It's gonna be Darth Vader, and that's your final confrontation: Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in a pod
They're
race.
gonna fight on a pod
They're gonna
racetrack.
fight, yeah, not fight in.
No,
they're
they're
gonna race each
racing,
other for the
yeah.
parts.
Oh fuck.
And Vin Diesel's gonna pull up.
Man, talk about not landing, not the like, not landing the ending or whatever the
Not
expression
sticking the
is. Like,
landing.
sticking the landing. Thank you. It's late. It's almost doing like fuck yeah. If it ended with them doing a pod
Throw
race,
Sebulba in there.
I would.
Fuck.
Yeah, Waddle. Annie. Oh, yeah.
Get some
Oh,
Gungans.
your friend Obi-Wan. How's Qui-Gon? No, he's gone a long time. Waddle.
Oh, I
What's
miss your mother.
Yeah, oh, your mother was so good to me. Oh. Where's Padme? He's just like asking about every character. What happened to that Jar Jar Binks fellow, eh?
You're
Like, we
right.
need
You are
to-
better at character voices than regular.
I am,
voices.
right?
like it.
It's 100%. But yeah, if they fucking pod raced, I would never trust Deborah Chow ever again with anything. But there's part of me that wants to see it.
It'd be
Yeah, I
so
want that
good.
version.
bad. They should do it for a Lego Star Wars. That's what they should do. That'd be great. Like, when they do those specials, like the Christmas ride, that's what they should do, like a pod racing one. But yeah. Anything else on? We didn't talk about obviously a great moment of Vader catching the ship. I love seeing that. Like he just walked up, got it, and then he just seemed like again we don't see his face, but just so disappointed. Like, oh, there's another ship.
You
But
could
like,
read his face.
yeah, he
100.
felt like a goof. He felt like an
Yeah.
idiot when that other ship got away. But again, anytime I see anyone do that, I know it's Vader. He was first. But again, I just get Starkiller vibes of that game when you were taking down the Star Destroyer. And again, not the same size, but I was like, fuck yeah, and this is Vader at the height, so it made sense. And they were smart, and good thing that it worked because it could have just went really bad for them. Vader just slaughtering all these people and his daughter, inevitably. Unfortunately, he wouldn't have known. But a great hype moment for Vader to be stopping the ship.
That whole sequence is just incredible. Yeah, I got Force Unleashed flashbacks too, and just when he started, like when he dropped the ship, brought it down, that was so cool. But then he just like when he's using the Force, just ripping the hull apart. I was like, holy fuck! Like,
Oh yeah,
he's so compromised right now. Like he's not thinking critically, and it's just hilarious. And this is just where it really sunk in with those Obi-Wan and Anakin flashbacks. And I mean, we all see the second ship. We know it's gonna go, and we know what's gonna happen. But Vader sure as hell doesn't. And yeah, I love that because like I started to laugh. I thought I know exactly the facial expression he's got underneath that helmet. So
exactly. No.
Yeah, I thought when the ship was first showing like flying away, I think that was one of the weakest like CGI moments in the show. Honestly, like the ship looked pretty bad in my opinion, but like the overall usage of the Force in that moment was fantastic. And then when he pulls it down and rips the hull apart, completely agree with what you said, Taylor. Like I just seeing Vader like be compromised in that sense, but just like be an angry child, but with so much power. Like that's really really fun to see. And then yeah, I chuckled as well, but more so to the fact that it's like, oh, they just had a fucking second ship there. Like they just knew that he was gonna pull down this first ship. Like that was again eye rolling moment, kind of like what happened when with them leaving Reva alive, but it worked out. You know,
Well, that was Obi-Wan's plan, right? He knew how to take advantage of that situation. Or he probably
think
told
so,
like,
always
yeah.
brought down the first ship.
he probably told like one guy, like, "Hey, Bob, you know, we'll hop on this ship. You take that one, fly it out of there
It's like
first.
that Wade guy.
Lead
in
the way,
last
Bob.
episode.
We'll cover you, Bob.
Can I
We'll follow
can I
your
clarify?
path."
Are you saying the guy's name was Bob or Bub?
Bob.
Okay.
There's no Bob though. That ship was completely automated. I doubt Obi-Wan said to one man just to go in there and pilot it. Just to get fucked.
Hey,
I'll come back
Hasha.
for you.
Hey, Hasha.
Russia, yeah.
No, it's Tala's like burnt Chris. She's still crawling. He's like, I got a job for you. Get in the cockpit. We'll
Oh
fly
my
away
God.
together and just. Oh yeah. That's all I know. It's anything
I
else
got
you guys
some
want
notes
to hit
here.
on Obi-Wan or Tala? Or
Um,
go ahead, Kirkland. Lay it on us. Juice us.
In regards to Tala, before her death, I really really love that story that she was telling of like she was sent there because they were told something and then it was completely a lie. Like they found Force sensitive people, and like I really like seeing that inside look on like the dark side of the Empire. Like it was, you know, we don't get a lot of that. There's probably a lot of books about that, but it was cool to see that in live action and just have her take on it because she was actually like on the Empire side, and then now she's kind of defective, and then you know what followed was her absolute death.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. If she's
it w-
back, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Plus
It
the
wa- it-
robot. We lost the robot.
Yeah, we lost the robot. That was a nice little moment. You know, she was all tearing up in the end. And she
She's
had a
gonna
robot
get
with
crushed by the robot. Deactivate, just fucking crushes her. That thing was huge.
her. It was huge. Yeah, it was a big. It was a
She
big
could have
boy.
made it, but the robot just falls on her. Obi-Wan just sees like her head gets squished
Pinned
into
her
a
down,
like a melon. Just. Ah.
I also liked like when they're battening down the hatches, getting ready for Vader to show up. They like a small detail, but they had these two robots just like welding shut like door with like a little barrier. It was just again cool little detail. I like seeing the droids in action there.
One of my favorite moments before Obi-Wan like told them the plan, like he was giving give himself up. When they got in that room, he just looked around. He's like, "It's over." Like he was just Legolas from Two Towers,
literally, yeah.
And Aja would be like, "I'll die as one of them." But like, and then he told the plan like, "Oh, he just wants me." But I imagine everyone in that room has been fucking scared when this Jedi's like, "It's over. It's done for." And then Obi-Wan's grabbing his coat and stuff, and the guy's like, "You're just gonna leave?" And he's like, "Well, he wants me." And they're like, "Okay, this is his plan." But yeah, it just sounded like he was ready to bounce to Tatooine. Like, well, I tried. You know, good luck, Leia.
I laughed so hard that moment. I was thinking the exact same thing. He's like, because they're all like, "Oh, we gotta do this, gotta do that." It's like, no, stop that. It's over. He's coming. We can't escape them, but we don't have to. But he like has a delay on there. He's just so like
Yeah.
morbid.
He just wanted to get a rise out of people. Like, oh, what's gonna happen? You know?
Seeing the Imperial transport ships coming in, anytime there's just like two Imperial transport ships coming in, I just get so hyped. It's just like, oh, this is just like Doom, you know, throwback to episode 7, like the opening to that. That was
Oh,
just
so
epic.
good.
Yeah, so I love those ships coming in. Let's see what else I got.
Good point with Clay when he put out all those lightsabers just left there. I'm excited for some fucking breakdown video to tell me whose lightsabers was and stuff. But you know, see if anyone knew if Quinlan Voss's lightsaber was there, because everyone keeps talking about like, is he gonna be dead or something like
But you'll
that?
cast
So.
a new one in there for sure.
I hope so. Fuck, it should definitely be in there. But I thought the Grand Inquisitor would keep that one. You know, as like a sake.
Well, I took it. These aren't lightsabers of dead Jedi. These are lightsabers that Jedi just left behind, and they went off to hide in their new lives. I thought that's how I took it.
Yeah, but they could still be dead. Bit of
Why-
both though.
Why? Well, they could still be dead. Yeah.
They're
'Cause I
dead
don't know why
Obi-Wan.
They just go find like.
But they
"Oh,
should have kept
lightsaber."
it. They should have been like Obi-Wan where he buried it. Like you never know when you're gonna need your lightsaber. You know.
True.
Just saying. Just
True.
yeah. Sell it.
Sell
Sell it. Kill a person. Sell
Sell
it.
it to a Jawa.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name. It's Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson. He had
Mhm.
like a Chewbacca crossbow at one point in the cave. I thought that
Mm.
was really cool to see. This was more of a question. It was
Okay.
I don't know why I thought about it like just now in this episode, but on Riva's suit, she had like the one like red light, and I don't think I've ever wondered like what those lights are supposed to be. Taylor, do you know what that does? Like Vader has a bunch of them, like all the Inquisitors have like just a red light on their suit. Is it just like a life support thing? You know, it might be. I don't know. It's a cool effect. I love the look of it, but I don't know why it just hit me now. I'm like, I wonder what that does.
It probably does a number of things to which I have no idea what.
Perfect.
It could be honestly that they've been stabbed before, like, cause we know Riva's been stabbed when she was a youngling, cause Anakin just fucking jousted her, and she survived that and played dead. So, maybe that's just an injury that she sustained, and obviously the Grand Inquisitor got fucked up, so he's got injuries. But
his ears, yeah, he got.
yeah, so maybe that's just all it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Famiclay says it's a health bar. That's how I took it. It's just like shows their
It's a
vitals.
health bar.
So you could just take a look at it. I took it as just like if it's not red, then they're dead, and it ain't red, she's dead. You know, and then you're gonna
And then
fly back.
Vader's
and
got
forth.
like 10 lives because he's got like 10 lights.
10
He's got a
lights.
green
Well,
one.
no, all
and a
those
red
are just for his different limbs. So it's like, okay, his leg's still working, his neck's still working.
his
you know.
cock. His
cock
7-foot
light,
dick.
His
yeah.
cock's definitely not working, man. There's no like, sorry. That's why he was mad at Reva.
He's
He's
got
like, I thought
augments.
you liked me, you know, stuff like that.
Let's see. I really liked how Obi-Wan was just playing Reva, and like getting her to, you know, he's probably doing it from a nice side, but I like to look at the dark side of the situation, and it seemed like he was playing her like a Sith, so I like that.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
And
Dude, I
also,
just realized Vader's behind your shoulder. He's freaking me out. He's gonna choke you. I didn't realize. I never realized he was there before. That was freaky.
Oh fuck yeah,
Yeah.
little Vader.
and also, TJ point out, which like I think is gonna happen when he says is his master not gonna show with Qui-Gon. That's gonna happen. I think that could actually be maybe the last scene of the series of him talking to Qui-Gon. Just Qui-Gon kind of like letting him know he did good and he's on the right path. That's almost a similar conversation to Tala. That like, yeah, there's some mistakes made, but you know, you've done it the best you could. Qui-Gon be like, I would have killed the fucker. You know, like I would have just.
I feel like TJ's missing some scenes here. Like, do you know why? Do you
No.
know why I showed Luke at the end? Because like I feel like that was explained when we got the Bail Organa beacon.
I
feel
could
like that
see.
set that
I
up,
could see
right?
someone not understanding that because I don't think it was the clearest. Because it's just like to me, it's just like why would Reva give a shit? Why do we give a shit and stuff like that? So, but I think it is just alluding that yeah, the Reva's on the hunt for Luke for some fucking reason. Like, all right.
Last thoughts I have are just I love seeing more fighting stormtroopers. Like Obi-Wan fucked up
Awesome.
some
Good
troopers.
stuff.
He did a full penetration on one. It was fucking wild.
With a lightsaber, by the
With
way.
a lightsaber, yeah. 7-inch cock wrapped around his neck. Oh my god. I keep
7-inch
thinking about that. God
I'm
damn.
gonna make a TikTok because like I only found Kirkland the first time he laughed, and there's a second time a day he laughed even more. Because one of my favorite things is always trying to make Kirkland break on the podcast. So yeah, 7-foot dick
Happens.
wrapped around his neck. You know.
That one had like an aftershock effect too. I swear you like said it, and then it hit me like 10 seconds later.
Oh yeah. Obi-Wan was slinging it this time though.
There was one part where Vader was fighting Reva, and it almost looked like he was holding his saber like backwards, like Starkiller does in the games.
Oh, shit.
And it was very, very brief for like one block movement, but it was just very cool to see.
Oh, some YouTuber's gonna fucking screenshot it and make a video out of it.
I hope so.
Is this actually Starkiller? In that yellow font, the new one with the red eyes, like that's been the big thing of like. So I can't remember how it got pointed out. It was trending when people point out the Thanos thumbnail, and I use that this week. The what is he cooking? And then like all the other YouTubers that use that, where it's like an image, just like it was that. This the other one was image of Paul Dano's Riddler, like does he know when he's like making a face, like all those things, and that's will be a picture of Vader with the lightsaber backwards, like Starkiller confirmed. Yeah. We could make a killing on these really bad thumbnails and ideas, but we have morals.
could.
Some of them.
The other thing too I want to note, I love how fucking flawed the Inquisitor's lightsabers are. Like they made it out that at first they were really cool. Like holy shit, these things are very advanced. Like they spin around in circles, which is very cool to see that again in live action. But I love it when they just fucking destroy these janky ass lightsabers. They don't need to be spinning around and doing all these tricks and helicopter flying away. Like they just need to be one thing and one thing only. That's just a classic lightsaber.
I just wanted to point out that Taylor's not speaking for us all when he's like, "Oh, they make them look really cool." The Inquisitor's lightsabers look like fucking shit to me.
No,
I've
like
always
at
no,
first,
they've always
when they first
no,
introduced them,
No,
it was pretty cool. Yeah.
we're gonna have a lightsaber with rings that spin. That's stupid. That's a
I think it's pretty
stupid
cool.
design. What?
It's not
I think it's
stupid.
pretty cool.
It's
I'll
Yeah,
say
I'm
double
saying
bladed.
that's
single
fine.
or double bladed,
You-
but then
you
it
can
can
t-
like spin on like full like circles. It's like
Look at
wow.
me
Grievous
spin.
thing.
No,
It is like
no.
the Grievous thing, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just saying, fine, you two can be, but he's not speaking for all of GeekVerse here. I've not thought the Inquisitors were a bad idea, and their lightsabers fucking suck. So there
Hey,
you
it's
go.
no lightsaber
I don't
whip,
think.
but
Why are
still,
the
it's pretty cool.
Inquisitors a bad idea?
We've talked about this a million times. You never remember anything I said. There's supposed to just be two Siths,
They're not
two
Sith,
dark side
though.
users.
They're not
Yes,
Sith,
they
though.
are. Yes, they
No,
are.
they're not.
Yes, they
No,
are.
they're not.
The only reason they're not is because George's like, oh, I wrote this rule 20 years ago, and I really want more red lightsabers. They're not. They're Inquisitors.
It's
that
the
use dark
difference
side of the Force.
between like
Nope.
army and
Nope.
police officers.
It's
Like,
not the same
there's-
reason that Luke should have been the only Jedi, but no, there's like 15 million of them bouncing.
We're not talking
around
about
in the
Jedi
hall.
Luke. That's a different
Yeah,
conversation.
no, it's
But
the
there's-
same thing.
There's a set
Ahsoka's
amount
not a
of
Jedi.
soldiers.
She just uses the Force. Yeah, all
But she's
right,
not a
fuck
Jedi.
off. Yeah, it doesn't matter. No,
There's
you,
a set amount
we've
of people
talked
in
about
the
this on
army.
many cantinas.
I got. There's 6 people watching. I got to reiterate for the people that haven't watched Cantina. This is you got like 20 people in the army,
Yeah.
and then you're not taking any more recruits, but you can reach out and have like Federal Reserves, which is like maybe like 10 other
No,
people.
this
that are
doesn't
on-
work
that are
already.
doing their working and training,
Especially
and
for
everything
you
like
two that always talk about the chosen one, the balance of the Force. You guys always talk about the power of two. It's like, oh, you got to have that. So there's, the one to hold the power and one to crave it. But then there's also like 17 other people that are craving it at the exact same time. So it breaks that rule. It defeats the purpose. Same thing as the chosen one, making a sequel trilogy, ruin that. It's fine. Star Wars just breaks its own canon all the time. Just deal with it. Just admit that George had no fucking clue what he was doing, and he let
no.
Filoni add some shit, and they're like, well, yeah, I guess. And now none of it works anymore.
Sith is a title, and the Inquisitors are not Sith.
But it was
they're
supposed to be more than a
Inquisitor
title. It was supposed to mean a lot more than that. It was actually
Hey
like
man,
feeling
it used
the
to be a
Force and
race,
stuff.
and nobody talks about the Sith, the original Sith.
No.
That's true.
For good reason. But yeah, no, the Inquisitors are dumb.
Conversation for another day.
Yeah. Oh, we've had it before, and Taylor just forgets.
We'll have it again. I'm gonna forget this conversation
He
now,
is.
so we can talk
is.
about it again.
It is
He's
pretty
just
late.
mad. He's just mad that George is.
I'm gonna die on that island.
But you can go there with a brief and look for
Ashito.
Luke. Okay. Is there anything else on this episode?
No.
No.
Nope.
Kirklin's like, I gotta edit this. Let's fucking end it already, But ladies and gentlemen, he was supposed to edit last week, and he said he was really tired. So okay, I'll do this week. You do next week, and now he's editing the hour 15 one. He got the raw end on
Should have
that
taken
one.
the easy one, just the 2 man.
Yeah, so next week we will be back for the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let us know in YouTube, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, first of all, why Inquisitors suck, and second of all, what you think about the finale coming up. I'm sure it's going to be, man, just stick the landing. Please just stick the landing. I want to fully love, no, I can't love everything, but I want to love things. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in, and may the Force be with you.
Always.